Greetings and welcome to another Pastor Jim's Reflection. My backdrop's a little different this week because I am in the office up here at Arenac County Christ United Methodist Church, and just happened to work out that it was a good day to film or to record this. So this is a reflection based on the sermon that I will present for Sunday, and it's going to be based on Psalm 61. So you may want to read Psalm 61, and actually you could probably, 60 to 63 are all kind of like this kind of grouped together. And it's a psalm that David's, and he is away from home in exile. And when David was in exile, which he was in exile quite often, and that means away for an extended period of time, it was either because somebody was trying to kill him, such as Saul or Absalom, or he was fighting a battle. He was out and taking care of stuff for the military. And we believe that this particular psalm was written while he was running for his life. And because he had to run away, he had to leave the Ark of the Covenant and the tabernacle behind. And so this is where God was at that time for those people. I mean, not in reality, God's everywhere, we know that, but at that time, the Jewish people felt that God's presence was in the tabernacle. Okay? And this Sunday is the Sunday of joy. It's the third Sunday in Advent. It's a pink candle we'll be lighting. And it's we're going to talk about how we can receive the joy of being in the presence of God, or just walking with God day to day, or being in a group of like-minded Christians. Okay, and because it is a joy, and the Proverbs tells us that humor or joy is a good medicine. So humor, laughter, joy is a good medicine for the soul. And we all know that. I mean, everyone every once in a while loves a great belly laugh, something that just, and it's one of the gifts from God. When you think about, what other animal actually has a belly laugh? That you just laugh, and it's spontaneous, and it's just the way we've been created, because God knew that we needed humor. We needed joy in our life to kind of compensate for all the troubles, and all the trials that you go through just living a normal life. And David knew that probably more than anybody. If you read his whole story, his up and down story, his when he fell from grace and when he came back to God, and the whole thing with Bathsheba, he was a man who had many different experiences and many different emotions. In this particular psalm, he's longing to be in worship. He's longing to be in the temple, in the sanctuary, where the tabernacle was, which is where God was, in the Ark of the Covenant. And for David, that's where he felt the presence of God the most. And wherever that is for you, it's important. If it's a certain place that you have a sense of God, I guess is the way to put it. And a lot of people, that's church. And church is a support group. We sometimes don't think of it that way, but the church really is a support group, because all of us need support. It isn't just people that are dealing with addictions and different things, or grief, or specific things. It's just support in life. We need to have that. And it's so important. But the question is, we've been in exile a couple times, right? Like David. We're away from We're away from the temple. We're away from the sanctuary. We're away. We can't be together. And the question is, does that cause you sadness? There's a lot of depression. One of the things that isn't talked about a lot through this COVID problem is these groups that need to meet. And I'm talking about AA or NA or grief support, or all these support groups that are out there, the numerous ones. And they haven't been able to come together. It's really affecting them. Depression is high. They're going back to falling off the wagon, so to speak. And it really shows how we need each other. You know, Christianity especially isn't a Lone Ranger thing. It's a group of people. It's a group of people that are all longing to be in the presence of God and to be spoken to and to be touched and to be led and inspired and encouraged and strengthened. And it's a need we have. The problem we have is just we can't do it right now. So I encourage you to keep each other in contact, whether it be a card or a letter or a phone call or whatever it be. I believe, and I talked a little bit here with Patty here at All Gray, and we have decided, at least in All Gray, I haven't talked to Beacon of Light, but they have decided here that they're going to have a Christmas Eve service. No matter where, if it has to be outside or if we can social distance or whatever, because the need is so great for people to get together. The longing is so great that we just have to do it. We'll be safe. We'll wear masks. We'll social distance. Okay? But Christmas Eve is one of those Sundays, you know, where people go to church that don't normally go to church. Now, that may not happen this year. Okay, we'll see how that goes. But the theme for this week, and I want you thinking about, and I want you to, if you get a chance, I want you to read a couple things. I want you to read Psalm 42, which I'm actually going to read right now, but I want you to read it again. And I want you to read Psalm 60 to 63 if you can, but specifically 61. Because we're going to be talking about how important it is to worship. You know, with people worshiping at home, and which is the only way they can do it now, watching this and watching a message or watching some other pastor on TV, and that's good, and it kind of keeps you alive, but just barely. And so we do need the physical presence of each other. And but I want to actually take a little break here, because this is the Joy Sunday, right? And so I got a few little corny jokes here I'd like to tell, but maybe it'll make you laugh, maybe they won't, I don't know. But you know, if Mary had Jesus, and Jesus was a little lamb, does that mean that Mary had a little lamb? Okay. Does God love everyone? Yes, but he prefers fruits of the Spirit to religious nuts. And what is so bad about forbidden fruit? What is so bad about forbidden fruit? Well, they create many jams. I'm sure there's much better jokes than that. But laugh, you know, because, yeah, life is full of trouble. Because we're living in a sinful world. And troubles come, troubles go. But what is steady is God. God is steady. Okay? We go through hills and valleys. But God is the steady. God is is constant. And there's two things in this world that are constant other than taxes. and that is God is constant and change is constant. The change part we don't like. We like God being constant, but we don't like constant change. But we think about every single day is different, even if it's just a little bit different. And when we go through times like this is a big change, right? And we can survive change. We have to, in a way, embrace it and think of it this way. How can we use this time? How is maybe God leading us in this time of exile or being away from each other? Are you growing closer with God because you on Sundays you can't come together? Do you still spend time in prayer? Do you still spend time being close to God? It's so important, and it brings joy because it brings assurance. You can hum, you can sing a song, even in the midst of trials and tribulation. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Why? For thou art with me. And this is where David was. David wanted to be with God. He wanted to feel his presence. He was longing for it. He was thirsting for it. And in this psalm, it starts out that way, but then the end result is, after the complaint, is the joy that's going to come. And so David is already having joy, knowing that one day he will also be able to worship in the temple again. And so it brings him joy to remember. And that's the other gift that God gives us, is remembrance, to think back of those days when we could do the things together and how joyous that was, and just be reminded of it instead of concentrating on the fact we can't do it. Remember the times that you had when you could do it, and pray that those times will come again, and and believe that they will, and don't doubt it, because they will. But God knows you're longing. At least I hope you're longing to worship God, or it's not just optional. It's all about our connection with God. I want to read Psalm 42, because we actually have a song in our Faith We Sing. It's called As the Deer, and you probably know it. But it comes from this psalm. Most of the psalms were musical or were put to hymns. But it says, and the title is The Prayer of a Man in Exile. It says, as a deer longs for a stream of cool water, so I long for you, O God. I thirst for you, the living God. Where can I go and worship in your presence? Are you there? Is that where you're at now? He goes on and says, day and night I cry, and the tears are my only food. All the time my enemies ask me, where is your God? Where is your God? My heart breaks when I remember the past. When I went with the crowds to the house of God and led them as they walked along, a happy crowd, singing and shouting praise to God. And then the verse ends, and the chorus is this: why am I so sad? Why am I so troubled? I will put my hope in God, and once again I will praise him, my Savior and my God. Here in exile, my heart is breaking, and so I turn my thoughts to him. Has he sent waves of sorrow over my soul? Chaos roars at me like a flood, like waterfalls thundering down to the Jordan. May the Lord show his constant love during the day. I love this. I love this. Put this to memory. May the Lord show his constant love during the day, so that I may have a song at night, a prayer to the God of my life. It goes on, but I'm going to stop there. It gives you the idea of what we're going to be talking about this week. And so I'm going to wrap it up here. I try to keep these meditations short and just give you a little idea of what's coming on Sunday. I am contemplating, and I don't know when this would happen or if it'll happen, but I'd like to do something a little different and more of a Bible study instead of just a little reflection. And I'm working on that, how we can be more instructive and actually learn more about the Bible and how to study the Bible, because it's so important. But for now, I'm going to leave you with that, and I pray that you hang in there, that things are going okay, and that just hold on, and hold on to the promise, that God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Have a great day.